So, hello everyone. I don't know if you can hear me. Wave at me if you can hear me.
Hello.
That's right.
Hi.
You can
I
hear
can
me.
hear you.
Okay. So today we're going to learn more about what a browser, what's the purpose behind a browser, and how to select the best browser. Okay. Let's see if I mute everyone at this point because I'm hearing some TV background noise. Yes, so today we're actually going to be looking at what is a browser, what's the purpose behind it, and what you need to know when you're selecting what browser. So far you have on your iPad Safari, but today you're going to learn a little bit more about Chrome and how to download Chrome as well. So we've got a series of things that we're going to be looking at. What is a browser? What are the advantages of selecting the best browser? And then from there, how to download and add Chrome to your iPad. Something that you may be, if you haven't already done so, you may want to consider doing so. Always have more than one browser. It's always good to have more than one access to one browser. So when one browser isn't working for you, you can choose another browser. There are times when I've had to switch out and go from one browser to the next to get the results I'm looking for. So it's important that you know you have those options. All right, so it's a little bit after 1. Please wave to me if you can see my screen. Thank you. I can see those lovely hands going up. I've got good 20 of you here in attendance so far. It's good to see your faces, those whose faces I'm seeing, and just the presence of those who I'm not seeing. It's good to have you on board. And we'll start looking right into what is a browser in a few minutes, as soon as I get a few more admitted. And tomorrow we've got Black History Trivia. And then followed by that, what are the benefits of going to the food stamp at the food bank and the voucher that you can get free to help with your fresh fruits and the purchasing of your fresh fruits and vegetables from the food bank. Just a couple more minutes, give a few more folks to get on board before I get started. Let me see if I have any newcomers today. Haven't seen Carl in a while. Nice to have you on board, Carl. And Evelyn, it's good to have you back with us. Hope you're feeling better. Sadly, we lost one of our seniors of the program. So just to let you know, we did lose one recently.
Who was that?
His name was William Dickey. I don't know if anybody's aware who he is, but he was not an active member, but he was part of the program. Okay, I think we got a good 26 on board now, so we'll move ahead now. So you've been seeing the Safari icon on your iPad, and you've been using it, especially when you want to look for something on the internet. But how is it that this all happens, and why do you need to use Safari to access the internet? So let's find out why. So the significance of browsers. It's important that everyone has access to the web, but it's also vital that we understand the tools we use to access it. Okay, I'll let some more in. We use web browsers like Mozilla, Firefox, Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Apple Safari every day. And I think you all in particular have been using Safari because that's what came already installed on your iPad. But do we really understand what they are and how they work? So first, many years ago, we started sending out emails. From emails to how we think of information. In short period of time, we've gone from being amazed by the ability to send an email to someone around the world, yes, I'm one of them, to change in how we think of information. It is not a question on how much you know anymore, but simply a question of what browser or app can you get that information from the fastest. Okay, so I'm one of those that go from one browser to the next. I use 3 different browsers every day. And I do. And they're for different reasons why I do that. So how does a browser work? So a web browser takes you anywhere on the internet. It retrieves information from other parts of the web and displays it on your, and in your case, it would be your iPad. The information is transferred using what is known as the Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which defines how text, images, and videos are transmitted on the web. This information needs to be shared and displayed in a consistent format so that people using any browser anywhere in the world can see the information displayed on their devices. Okay, so it's a very way. Now, when I was back in the day when I was designing and using HTML to lay out a website, when I was finished with that website, I had to now test it on all the browsers. I had to make sure that all the browsers are going to be consistent about how my website was going to look. Not just one browser, but just about all of the ones that we use every day. It was very important. So that took even more work because it may look good in one browser, but guess what? Another browser, it's going to look horrible. So then you had to go back now and make changes again, do testing to get that website to look just the way you want it on all the browsers. And it takes work. And that was something when I used to teach the course, many of my students just couldn't understand why it's looking good in Chrome, but it's not looking good in Firefox or on Edge. So that was never a question I could answer. Just had to keep going until we get it looking consistently across all the browsers. Sadly, not all browsers make or choose or interpret the format in the same way. For users, this means that a website can look and function differently, yes, depending on which browser you're using. Creating consistency between browsers so that any user can enjoy the internet regardless of the browser they choose is called web standards. So we had to meet those standards in order, when designing a website, to make sure that that website is going to appear just as how you want it to look based on the browser standards. All right, so when the web browser fetches the data from an internet connected server, it uses a piece of software called a rendering engine to translate that data into text and images. This data is written, again, I mentioned before, hypertext markup language, also known as HTML. And web browsers read this code to create what we see, hear, and experience on the internet. Now, if you look to my right, you'll see some examples of that actual code. So whenever I am designing a website or teaching how to lay out a website, this was the code that I basically started with, getting my students to understand how to not only the layout, everything had to be, precisely in place to get those websites to lay out the way they should. So it's a very meticulous approach, very time consuming, very testy. Like I said, it may look good in one browser, my website, but then maybe in another browser it's just not looking right. So to go back to the drawing board again and start making those changes. All right, so every day you get an email from me. It says click here in order to join Zoom. Well, that's what is known as a hyperlink. It allows users to follow a path to another page or site on the web. Every web page, image, and video has its own unique uniform resource locator, also known as URL. It is also known as a web address. When a browser visits a server for data, so that web address tells the browser where to look for each item that is described inside the HTML, which then tells the browser where to go on the web page. So you heard me use the term, I've mentioned a server. A server is just a large computer sitting somewhere in some location where all these different websites are hosted on, that they're there so that when you go and you want to go to facebook.com, it goes to that server. When you type in facebook.com, it hits the server and bang, you now have access to your Facebook page. So you've been hearing about cookies when it comes to web browsers. Websites have saved information about you in files called cookies. They are saved on your computer, in your case, in your iPad, for the next time you visit that site. Upon return, that website code will read that file to see if that's you. And for example, when you go to a website, the page remembers your username and password, and that makes it possible for a cookie. And so it's not a cookie you actually enjoy. As you can see, they're called web browser cookies. So let's find out about these cookies. Cookies are also used to remember things. They're also with more details about you, perhaps your interests, what sort of things you go on your iPad looking for, your web browsing patterns. And this means that a site can provide you with more targeted contents, often in the form of ads. That's what it's all about, the dollar. Yes. So when you're on a website and you see a sign comes up that says, in order to further continue using this website, you've got to say, yes, I accept cookies. What they're saying is that they're actually taking that information, your information that you're looking at on that website, and logging it so that the next time they can place ads. So if you go, for example, if you go to Yahoo or Gmail or wherever you to read your daily emails and you see ads coming up, guess where those ads are coming from? Those same cookies that you accepted when you went to a website. They're advertising you the product of interest. For example, if I want to find I think the other day I was looking at something sliding doors. I'm having to replace my sliding doors. So I went looking at sliding doors. Before you know it, my email account's saturated with sliding door ads. That's a cookie right there, doing its thing, remembering exactly what I went looking for on that web page or those web pages, and then now advertising their sliding doors, what they cost, and so forth. So that's what a cookie does. So it's a money-making tool. Now then there's the third-party cookies, which is the ones I don't particularly care for. These cookies are called third-party cookies that come from sites that you're not even visiting at the time. And they can track you from the site to gather information about you, which is sometimes sold to other companies. And sometimes, however, you can block those cookies. And not in this session, but in another session, I'm actually going to go in there and show you all how to block cookies in Safari or Chrome, whatever, I'll be doing it on both. So your information is not sold to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Okay, so you can block them. You also need to understand your privacy as far as when you're using browsers. Nearly all major browsers have a private browsing setting. These exist to hide the browsing history from other users on the same. So if you don't particularly share your iPad with someone else, but if you had a desktop at home or a laptop and you have others sharing it, you don't want them going on that and finding out what you've been browsing. Okay, so yes, you can set that up. Many people think that private browsing or incognito mode will hide both their identity and browsing history from the internet providers, governments, and advertisers. They don't. They actually don't. These settings you have to clear the history in your system, which is helpful if you're dealing with sensitive personal information on a shared or public computer. In your case, again, you're dealing with an iPad and it's personal, but I can still show you on another session how one clears one history. Okay, making your web browser work for you. Most major web browsers let users modify their experience through extensions or what are known as add-ons. Extensions are bits of software that you can add to your browser to customize it or add functionality. And in all my 20 years or more of using browsers, I rarely ever have had any extensions. I don't do it. I'm not into it. I can navigate it enough. I don't need to. Extensions can do all kinds of fun and practical things, like enabling new features, foreign language dictionaries, or visual appearances and themes. But it's up to you what you're hoping to use your iPad for. I don't get into extensions. So all browsers makers develop their product to display images and videos as quickly and smoothly as possible, making it easy for you to make the most of the web. They all work hard to make sure users have a browser that is fast, powerful, and easy to use. Where they differ is why. Where they differ is why. Exactly. Why is Chrome different from Safari or Firefox or Edge? It is important to choose the right browser for you. Very important. But again, like I said earlier, I use 3 different browsers every day. So it depends on what I'm doing. I know which browser is best to use. But I don't use it on my iPad. I use it on my desktop, the various browsers. So how does a browser work on your computer? So again, to search the internet, you need to have an internet browser installed on your computer. And you have Safari. It came with your iPad. So today, we're going to look at Chrome browser. What are the advantages of using Chrome? We touched on Safari some months ago, and I think it's time for me to redo it again. So in the near future, I'm perhaps on my next week, I'll go back and look at Safari and redo it, improve on what I presented before, and then do it again for you. But this week, we're going to look at Chrome. And I know most of you may not have Chrome downloaded on your iPad, but at the end of this session, I'll be showing you how to. Or if you don't care to learn it this way at a group, you can then call the help desk and we can do it one-on-one with you. So you have a choice. So to have Chrome on your iPad, you would have to go to the App Store to do so. As you can see on this image that I have here, there's an icon of the App Store, and that's where you would go to download Chrome. All right, so let's now look at some of the advantages of Chrome versus Safari, which is what you've been using all along. One of the biggest weaknesses of Apple mobile Safari browser on the iPhone and the iPad has been the lack of desktop-like features. And what they're talking about, a typical laptop features, it lacks that. Okay, I need to admit someone. All right, so doing routine tasks like downloading a file while possible was a hassle. Then there's the fact that browsers, that the browser defaulted to loading only the mobile version of the website, even as our phones and tablets got more powerful and capable. So Safari really hasn't really been improving rapidly for mobile computers like Chrome has been. Google is Chrome. And so, as you know, Google's is like the leading web presenter. So let's look at 10 reasons why you should use Chrome for your iPad. First one we're going to look at is it has the ability to open unlimited tabs. Like you can have like, I'm telling you right now as we speak, I have at least 25 tabs that I can click at. It's there already. I don't have to go look at the website for it. It's there. I've got 25 tabs open right now as we speak. Google Chrome lets you open unlimited number of tabs on the iPad compared to only 9 on Safari. We tried opening this 20 tabs and it still didn't, and we tried opening, meaning me, opening up at 20 tabs and it still performed very well without any lagging. So again, Chrome, you can have many tabs open, and like I mentioned, I've got 25 open without any issues. 2, swiping between tabs look really cool. Unlike Safari, Google Chrome understand that pain of switching browser tabs, especially on an iPhone. Google Chrome allows users to swipe from the edge of the iOS device, meaning an Apple device, to switch to tabs easily. It has what is called an intuitive experience. Okay, 3, you can search and surf using what is called the Oni box. And so, yeah, that term, you've never seen it. And in fact, up until I came up with that term, I'm like, what in the world is an Oni box? But it's your address bar. It's where you typing the information of the URL that you desiring to access. So Google Chrome lets you search and surf fast directly from the same box. Here, the search results and web URLs appear as you type in the keyword. So for example, you want to type in Facebook. You don't have to type in the whole Facebook characters to get into. When you type in FAC, guess what? Facebook is showing up. It's right there. So that's what they mean about within seconds. You can now select. Look at the drop down on this image. This person is typing in Hong Kong, Hong Cat, and all these website options just appeared like that. Which one do you want to choose? Which one of these do you really want? That's Chrome for you. 4, the ability to sync with other devices, and that is very true. Now, when I make a change on my iPad, or I download an app on my iPad, guess where it shows up to? On my desktop. Yes, it does. So I'm saying to myself, well, I know I did. Oh, and it also shows up on my phone. It actually shows up on my phone. I just have to download it once. So with you, if you have an Apple phone and an Apple iPad, you can download an app on the iPad and it shows up on your phone also. 5, you can go into what is called private browsing, Incognito. If you like browsing incognito mode on the desktop version, then you'll be glad to know that this feature is included in the mobile version as well, meaning your iPad. Surf the web on your iOS devices without leaving behind cookies, history, or any other data while going into incognito. You can go there, and I can actually show you how do you surf incognito. You have to select. It's something you've got to select to do, where no history of that search is left on your iPad for anybody to, get an idea of what you've been looking at on websites. There's a voice search. How I don't know if, just like you use Siri, you say Siri do this, Siri do that. Well, Google Chrome has the same thing. Google Chrome has a built-in voice search, which is of great convenience to users with people with disabilities or for individuals who have their hands full. When I'm in the kitchen cooking and I want to find a recipe, I just use my Google app and I say, find me a recipe on chocolate chip cookies, and it brings them up. And all I have to do is select the microphone icon on the right side of the address bar and ask away rather than tap those letters. I don't have to use my fingers. 7, it also keeps a record of the most visited websites on new tabs. So by default, a new tab loads up thumbnail versions of your most visited websites. It is what is known as speed dial, meaning on your phone, you often have at least, you have speed dials for all your loved ones, the people that you call frequently. You don't have to, each time you can just hit their name and it's called speed. Well, and these days the smartphones have that too. You can just hit the name and bang, you have access to that person. But a new tab will do that for you in Chrome also. Then we have better keypad. So Google Chrome keyboard provides quick access to several important keys when the UNI bar or the address bar is in use to aid in typing the full. So you start typing the first 3 characters and it's like it's already aware of what is it that you're hoping to access in that URL bar. 9, it has the ability to save passwords. Google Chrome has an option to remember passwords for the sites you log in. If you activate Google Chrome Save Passwords features, you'll get a prompt every time to sign into a new website. That's if you activate it. Once Chrome saves your sign-in credentials, it will automatically complete the sign-in fields for you when you arrive at that website login. But I also want to let you know, I wouldn't do that with your bank account. Anything to do with your money or any high level of confidence, I wouldn't have safe passwords on any of my devices. I just don't do it. And why do I not do it? It's because I learned the hard way. Some years ago, I used to do it until somebody got access to my bank account using my credentials. Yes, it happened. Anyway, I didn't have a price to pay for that. I just learned in other words, Chase Bank locked me out, and then I had to figure out why I was locked out. That was the only hurdle that I had. So I don't save any of my really, my basic accounts, but not anything to do with my bank accounts, my social security system access. No, I am not doing any of that stuff, saving it on a website. So I would highly recommend you not do the same. All right. And then the last of this is the ability to clear your browser data right within the app. So in Google Chrome, you can easily clear your browsing history, your cache, cookies, and save passwords right within the browser via settings. And that's easily done. All right. So now, to conclude, as far as what are the 10 benefits of choosing Chrome, is that despite being slower and not as smooth to use on devices as compared to Safari, with a foot through the door by its entry, the App Store, Chrome is well on its way to being the browser to beat. So it's one of the leading ones. If you speak to the younger generation, the millennials and younger, they'll tell you that Chrome is it. Just like Instagram is it for them, Chrome is their #1 browser. All right, so we've reached a point that if any of you would like to, you can follow along to download Chrome. Simply go to the App Store, look for this app if you've never downloaded an app before, and then once the app is downloaded, it says on your iPhone or iPad, go to Chrome on the App Store. Then when you see that get shows up, you tap get, and then you tap install. Then you enter your Apple ID if it's asking you to do so, password, and then tap OK. And then you could start browsing after you. It's pretty simple, very straightforward. All right, so here's some tips on how this happens. You can make Chrome your default browser on your iPhone or iPad. To fix problems with the search engine, such as Flash, pop-ups, or Chrome updates, try. So now let's say you got into Chrome and you're having difficulty, then they're recommending you uninstall it and reinstall it again. But I'm not saying that you should do that. What you need to do is call the help desk if you find yourself having difficulty with the installation of Chrome. You can call us, okay? As you know, the help desk. And I'm trying to mute somebody because I'm hearing some talking. And so that brings us to basically the end of today. Now, any questions on Chrome, go ahead and fire it now. Or if you need me to help you with installing that app, I can do it now, or you can call the help desk and we can get it done one-on-one. Because I know some of you are challenged when you're having to do it as a group. So we're hoping Isaiah and I are both available to do it one-on-one. I see some hands are up already, so I'll begin taking these questions on hand, and I'll begin with the person doesn't have it just says iPad. So I'll begin. Whoever has the iPad up with your hands, please respond. I'll ask you to unmute. iPad. Okay. I'm talking to iPad. Okay, go ahead, iPad.
Yes, that may be me, Yvonne Johnson. See, I can't tell if I'm signed in.
That's not you. You are, I can see you.
Okay.
There's somebody before you.
Okay.
With their hands raised, but they're not responding. So Yvonne, go ahead. Go ahead, Yvonne. I'll take yours.
Okay. My question is this.
Unmute. I'm iPad.
Your iPad? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I put my name, but I ended up putting my name in there.
No. You're not the iPad that's got your hands waved,
okay.
Cliff. But it's another iPad. But you can ask your question when I'm finished with Yvonne. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna raise my hand.
Sorry, Yvonne. Go ahead.
It's okay. It won't take long anyhow.
Okay.
Lately, I have been receiving a message on my iPad especially when I'm on, oh gosh, what's the thing? YouTube or something.
YouTube, okay.
YouTube. And it will say in the upper right corner, iPhone storage full, device will not work. And then it gives me the option to learn more or clean it now. And then it says under phone, it says phone cleaner, clean storage, giving me an opportunity, app store, which is an ad that has that in parentheses. And it says under that 4.6 free. I guess that's how much space. You know, and then it gives you across from that the opportunity to install. Now, I've been ignoring it, and I am wondering with a number of problems that I've been having on my cell phone, because the iPad and the cell phone, no matter what, you know, I have consumer cellular, no matter what, when I got the iPad, all the contacts from the cell phone immediately transferred over to my iPad contacts. So there is a relationship between these cells.
They're in sync. That's exactly what I mean.
So my question is, should I ignore this? I don't know what they're talking about. I know that I'm having some issues with my phone right now, but it does say iPhone storage full, device will not work.
And it probably, do you have videos saved there on in your gallery? Do you have a lot of video? Because I know this happened.
No, I have no videos saved.
Okay, so that cross.
Margaret.
Okay, so
but let me
hold on, let me. hold on, I'm muting someone. Sorry about that, Yvonne. So if you don't have video stores and you don't have a lot of images stores, you need to then ignore it.
Okay.
Because it's about somebody trying to sell you space. Yes, storage. And they do that. They do that. However, if you do decide to buy storage on your iPad, it's cheap. I pay 99 cents a month. And so that eliminates, you know, all my concerns of ever being overloaded, because I do have a lot of images and I do have videos stored on my iPad, and it just says, you know what, I want to just keep this out in cloud. Another advantage too to having is that if my iPad or my iPhone goes dead any day, guess what? I have access to my information. It's in the cloud. Now, to me, it's worth 99 cents a month. We had a senior several months ago who went on a holiday somewhere and took a lot of beautiful pictures, and then her iPad broke. Got broken. She was crying like a baby. All those beautiful pictures, guess what? She could no longer have access to them because they weren't stored in the cloud. So if you're into, beautiful pictures and storing them, like I like to take of my grandkids wherever I go, I put my stuff on the cloud, because if my phone or iPad dies, I have access to those images, because you can't replace those images. You just can't.
No.
So I'd highly recommend that you might want to go and get Apple at 99 cents a month.
Teresa.
I'm going in order with the hands up, because I've got like a group of people ahead of you. Okay. Yeah, but I've got people ahead of you. I'm sorry, Cynthia, but I do. I have. They're like in a queue. They're in a queue here.
Okay, no problem.
And I don't want to jump the ship.
No problem.
I don't want to offend anybody. So I'm going to my next person and ask them. That is Alicia. If you can go ahead and ask your question, Alicia.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. The first one was, I always try to clear my data, because you have to go to, but then Chrome has 3 levels. It says clear cookies, then clear cookies and something else. And then at the bottom, they said, we don't recommend that. But I wondered, that's my first question, how deep to go? And the other thing is that we've talked about this before, but even though Incognito says it doesn't, that your stuff is private, it's private to them. They have all of it. And so if you really want your stuff to be private, then you call what Chris Thompson told us and from Cyber Seniors was use DuckDuckGo install, because that's totally private.
Oh, well, thank you for that tip, Alicia. I wasn't even aware of that. And what is it called?
It's DuckGo, and it's a picture of a duck, and you download it, and it's totally private. So
wow. Well, others listening, if you weren't aware of that, I would follow her advice if that's a preference of yours.
But my question was, how far down do I go on those 3 levels of deleting the browsing history? Is it safe to go down at the bottom? Because it said you might lose something you want, but
exactly. So that's the question. That is it. Because when I go into advanced to look at those things, I might lose something I want. So I stop at the second or the first level. I don't drill down.
All right.
I don't drill down. Thank you, Elisa. So I'm now going to go to the next person. Again, I don't know who iPad is. I don't know their name. But if you are iPad and your name is up, please go ahead. iPad, you're second. You're next. Nope, that iPad isn't responding. So I'll go with the second iPad. It's the second iPad that has someone there looking. Second iPad, go ahead and speak.
Hello?
Nope. Yes, go ahead. You're the second iPad. Go ahead. Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself.
My name is Willie Joe. This
Willie
is
Joe.
my second meeting.
Okay, Billy Joe.
And I logged on kind of late. So I didn't get all of the information. So will you be doing another one introducing the usage of the iPad? Because I'm completely in the dark when it comes to-
I'm going to look at Safari. This week I looked at Google. Next week I will do Safari. So if you're on board next week, you'll get some more on browsers next week, but that would be on Safari. And yes, I can help you, Willie Joe. Can you contact us with questions that you need help with directly and we can help you?
Okay, can you give me your number?
202
Okay,
800
800.
6868, and we will help you with any specific questions you have.
Wait a minute. 202
Mhm.
800
800. Mhm.
6868.
That is correct. Okay, so you
Is
can
there
call us.
another number? Okay, yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
uh,
Okay, so
can
is
call-
there anyone? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's Isaiah or myself, and we can help you. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and we have Darius as well, who sometimes answers the help desk calls. So go ahead, do that if you need specific help. Okay.
Okay,
All right,
all
Willie
right.
Joe, we're here from 9 to 4 every day, Monday through Friday.
okay.
All right, so I'm now gonna lower your hands, and I'm gonna ask Cliff now. Your hands are next, Cliff, go ahead. Cliff, ask your question.
I already got. I got. I had it on my computer, so I wanted to download the Google app put it on the Apple tablet. I got
Okay.
it on there. Matter of
All
fact,
right.
I got it on there and went into Facebook and everything through the
Okay.
Google.
Okay,
So when I hit it, it tells me the search thing come up. Where I can search.
okay. All right, Cliff.
I'm good.
Oh, you're good. All right, now I'm gonna go to Cynthia Kane. Go ahead, Cynthia, it's your turn.
Are you saying Cynthia Kane?
Yes.
It's Carla Kane.
Oh, I apologize. Carla, I apologize.
No
I've got like
problem.
400 names. Please forgive me.
Okay. Not a problem.
That's why I
just-
used the last name, because I wasn't
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I wanted to just confirm or affirm what you were
Uh-huh.
talking about the pictures, having been a recent victim, so to speak, myself, because my iPhone died
Mhm.
and I had like 240 some pictures on there.
Mhm.
And when I got another iPhone, but the phone died, the battery was so dead or so
Mhm.
low, they couldn't even recharge it to transfer anything.
Mhm.
So what you talked about today in terms of the cloud, it's really given me, a task, because I need to get my stuff on the cloud so I don't create the same situation with the phone I have now. But I lost some precious memories.
Yes.
And I'm still waiting to get an appointment with the iPhone store and pray that they'll be able to do something. But otherwise, it's just gone. And
Yes.
they were some very, very good memories. And that just happened, like just before the holidays. So
Yes.
I would encourage everybody. I've been opposed to the iCloud, strongly opposed to iCloud, but I have to reconsider that now.
Okay, well, thanks for doing that. I'm sure many of us could use that advice. Thank you again, Carla. I appreciate it. Uh-huh. All right, our next hand is Yvonne Irwin.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Teresa.
Mhm.
Teresa, I'd like to know if you can block cookies without downloading Google Chrome
Possibly,
on the iPad.
but you could, but you would need us helping you, so you'd have to call the help desk. Yes, we can do that.
Okay, because you're right. Those advertisements can be very annoying, when you're trying to, like I often access recipes and
Mhm.
I can't enjoy and look at the recipes for the ads,
I know, yes, it is very annoying.
But I
Yes.
will, this was very informative. I do plan to download Google Chrome.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have it on my desktop,
Mhm.
but I don't have it on my iPad.
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, thank you. This was most informative.
Thank you, Yvonne. All right, any other hands up? Any other hands, or we can go into general discussion at this point? I still see iPad with a hand up, but I don't know who they are. So it's nothing I can do until you surface. So Vera has a question. Go ahead, Vera, unmute. Vera, you need to unmute. Vera, go ahead.
Actually, it's supposed to be like 1, 2.
Vera, go
Okay,
ahead.
I'm trying. I'm unmute. Okay.
Go ahead, Vera.
Okay. Thank you so much. About the duck, I wanted to find out about, what did she say about the duck be able to eliminate a lot of the commercials and stuff?
Alicia, are you there? Go ahead and enter.
What did she say? I'm sorry.
Can you please explain about the duck again? The duck.
Yeah,
Go.
it's on the App Store.
Almost Angela and Michelle.
And then
they don't
just
go in
duck,
there.
it's just duck, D-U-C-K, duck, D-U-C-K, go, Geo, duck, go. And then there's a picture of a duck. Make sure you don't get somebody else who acts like they own it. It's its own self. It's a, and then you just download the app. And from then on, you can, when you want to browse something totally private, you just click that instead of Chrome.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you so much. I have another question.
Go ahead, Vera.
I have gone to the App Store and tried to download. I don't remember the last thing, and it said that I wasn't able to do it because of the iPad that I'm on.
Ah, wow. Okay.
And it wasn't a cost. It wasn't a cost item. It didn't have a cost.
Well, you know what, Vera? I would call me after this, or call the help desk, whatever, and let us find out what app that is and find out why, because you shouldn't have that. We need to maybe drill down and find out why.
Okay, because I can imagine if you have an account, if you set up an account, if it's a cost, they would go into your account and get it, correct?
Right. And you have an Apple ID, right? Because as long as you have an Apple ID, then you shouldn't have that hurdle.
I have an Apple ID. I don't have an account, no money in the account. You know,
well, no, you don't have to have, you don't have to have money. What I am going to say, and this again varies, and I don't know how they determine this. Some people, they would ask to put a credit card, and others they will not. I don't know how they determine that. Even when you're not buying something, you're just trying to get a free app download, they still want you to use your credit card to sell. And I don't know, Isaiah, are you there? Because maybe Isaiah may have some input on this, because I know he's been dealing a lot with this with other seniors. Some people, they ask for credit cards and others they don't.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Isaiah. Explain to us what's been going on in that area.
About was it requesting a credit card or?
Yes. Why is it that some people they're asking a credit card to access the App Store and others they're not?
So
I can explain that. At some point in time, you might want to purchase something.
My theory is that it may depend on how you made your Apple ID. That's my particular theory. It could be if you made a completely new iCloud, or it could be versus if you had an email address already and you converted that to your Apple ID. But I can research it and get back to you all on it. I'm not 100% sure.
Because it was not a purchase item.
Yes.
It's item. So, but it said because of that, I've had that along. Okay, then thank you very much.
Call us, Vera. Call us on that app though. We'll help you.
Okay, then. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Now I see iPad is back. She's had her hands, or he, I don't know who it is. Go ahead and ask your question. Your hands are up, iPad.
Yeah, hello, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, introduce yourself.
I'm Maddie Shine.
Hi, Maddie. How are you?
I'm holding on. Been in the hospital sick. It's not COVID.
Okay.
Not COVID, but
okay.
You was talking about Safari. You explained it well. It's a mess. You can't go nowhere on Safari. And as far as credit cards, don't do it. Don't get on there and do no credit card. Just don't do it. Get your phone, call on your phone, call in and do a credit card if you know the company well, but don't put it online. The only way to keep them from tracing you is clean out cookie storage and that little thing that say cache or whatever it say, you have to clean it out if you're willing to lose everything. And
Thank
so
you.
go back to pencil and paper and write down phone numbers.
Well, thank you for
Thank
sharing,
you.
Maddie. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Okay.
teaching.
Yeah, that's just some good advice on your credit card information too. That's another
Yeah.
thing that you have to be very careful when you're shopping online. You make sure that it's not logged on your system, because a hacker, somebody like me, can go into your thing right now and find your credit card information. I've been trained to do it. So
Or sexual orientation.
so be careful with that. Okay. That was a course that I taught for years, cybersecurity. And so I had to go for training every year on how people break into systems. So I'm very conscious about what and what not to place, and how to do it on your computer. Okay. Now we still have another 7 more minutes, so we could talk about, I'm still looking for contestants for the Monday's Valentine's karaoke. So please let me know. I've got, so far, Isaiah, how many do we have? You've got, I know I have 3 solid, you have 1 or 2, right?
Yes.
And we're still looking for another 3 more. So if you'd like to win a prize, something is like a nice keyboard for your iPad. So you don't have to use the digital keyboard. Here, enter the contest.
Teresa, will this video be available? Could I access it later?
I am recording it. And
Okay.
I will leave
I would
that.
like to look at it later, if I may.
Okay. All right. And Mr. August is who loads it up onto our website so that you all can have access to it. That's his department. I record it, he uploads.
How soon will that be?
No, that's why I said Mr. August, because it's his timing.
Okay. All right.
It's on his window. My window is every day. I'm here hammering at the desk every day. His is like, he's not only manages the iPad program, he's got like 4 other programs that he's got his hands in. But I know he did say to me this morning that he was going to begin starting to upload videos that he hasn't been doing for the last couple of weeks. So it depends. But Yvonne, if you really do want to, you could call me and I could probably share that link with you, but you'd have to call me outside of this if you really want it, like now, like today.
No, when I'll do it a little later. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I see Rosalind, you have your hands up. Go ahead, Rosalind. Unmute, Rosalind. Ask your question.
Okay. I had, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I had asked you yesterday, can you send me the names of the songs that's supposed to be sung?
Isaiah,
because I must have deleted it, Teresa.
Isaiah, can you please resend that the list of the ad that you sent out to Rosalind? Resend that email to Rosalind, Isaiah, with a karaoke list.
I don't even remember seeing it.
Isaiah, are you there? Okay, let me, I'm writing it down, so in case he's not listening in. So to Rosalind. All right, I'm writing it down, Rosalind, because you may have stepped away for a little bit. So I'll go ahead. Was that it, Rosalind? Okay.
Yes, ma'am, because I had asked you yesterday.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
I could never get it.
Vera, your hands are up again.
Thank you. She just said that, let me ask you this. If we go to a website and it has the lock up in the left-hand corner, you're in a safe, you're not necessarily in a safe site, you're not necessarily at a safe site, is that what she's saying?
No, 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 no. Okay, so that lock means it's going to be what is called
Landscape.
what it's that it's going to be, it's being whatever information you're entering into that website, giving whatever it is going on, it's going to be in oh, I'm drawing a blank.
Landscape. You talking about landscape?
Not landscape. No, it goes into where you or I can't read it with the eye. We're going to remember it in a little while. The data that's being there, it's not going to be readable by the eyes. It has to be read by another machine. And
Okay. But is it secure? Is your site
It is secure. It's secure. Yes, yes.
Oh.
And it's a guarantee there that they've purchased certificates that they're doing based on requirements, that they've met all the requirements for you to enter your data there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
so that's
you.
what that means, Vera. Sorry,
Okay.
I'll remember the
was
term in a little while.
asking that.
Is the term
Okay,
called
thank you.
scripted, Teresa?
Huh?
Is the term called scripted?
No, not scripted. I'll get it in a little while. Like I said, my memory is, and I actually, it's something. Isaiah, are you there? Is he there?
He's there.
Hi.
Yeah.
He's in incognito, right?
He's incognito. Okay, I'll remember it. But anyway, it's not readable by the bare eye. So somebody like
thank
me,
you.
if I break in the system right now, I couldn't read it
Okay.
because it's all symbols and codes that it's not readable by the human eye.
Okay.
It has to be interpreted by a machine.
Right.
Yes. So that's the story with that.
Okay.
Any other questions before we cut off today? So I'm still looking for a couple more contestants. Very important. Friday. Guess what happens on Friday? We get the food bank here on Friday talking about what they can offer you. And that's 50. I think somebody says they offer $50 certificate each visit, or every month, I don't know what the terms are, to get fresh fruits and vegetables from the farmer's market. So be here on Friday for sure to get benefit from that, okay?
Okay.
Make sure you do that. Everybody can always benefit from $50. I know I can. $50 buys a lot of fruits to me. Any other questions?
Great presentation, Teresa.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Yep. Thank you very much. Any other questions about now? Next week, we're going to be looking at again at Safari and the pros and cons of Safari. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now,
All right.
Teresa, would you repeat what you said about Friday and $50? I had an interruption.
Okay. So we have the food bank doing a presentation on Friday, and they're going to be talking about the resources that are available to seniors. And that part is they offer some kind of voucher for you to get fresh fruits and vegetables every month.
Oh.
Yeah. Has nothing
Thank
to do with
you.
income or anything like that. All seniors are entitled to it. Depends on your ward, what ward you're in. But they're coming on
Okay.
board on Friday to do so.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Okay, so it's now after 2. I'm going to wrap up. Oh, Karen is here. Hi, Karen. I see your hands. Go ahead and unmute. Ask your question, Karen. Karen Murphy.
Yes.
Go
Hi,
ahead.
how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Okay, for the karaoke, do you have to pick your own song or do you have a list of songs?
We have a list of songs. Would you like us to resend it to you again?
Yes, please.
All right. All right.
And
we'll send it.
I'll enter into the contest.
All right. Thank you, Karen. So we'll send to you. We'll send to Rosalind. Okay. I'll make sure that happens right after the meeting today.
Okay.
All right.
Teresa?
Yeah, I hear somebody saying something, but I don't see who it is.
Yes, wait a minute.
Oh, Connie. Hi, Connie.
How are you doing? I'd like to
Okay.
get in on that contest too, if you send the information to me.
Okay, so I'll put you down. I'll send on to Connie as well. Thank you.
When is it? When
it's,
is it?
It's Monday. Monday.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Karaoke list to 3, okay, possible contestants, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else on that list? We planning to have fun on Monday. Okay, so I'll see you. You won't be seeing me tomorrow because we're having the library do its presentation tomorrow on Black history and trivia. I don't know if they have any giveaways, but I would think that it should be fun. So tune in for that tomorrow. You should have gotten the link today, but I'll send it again in the morning. And then, of course, you'll be getting the link for Friday's presentation from the food bank tomorrow as well as Friday morning. Okay? So it's nice to see all you lovely faces again.
Oh, I don't know. Thank you.
Lovely faces again.
Thank you, Teresa.
I
Thank
enjoy
you.
all of you.
Thank
And,
you.
yes, and I'll see
Have
you
a
again
good day.
pretty soon.
Blessed day,
Yeah.
God
everybody.
bless all of you. Bye-bye.
All right, God
Thank you.
bless.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
This looks like over by you though, and that's because I did some volunteer work there.